Hello and welcome to In My Podcast Era, a podcast where I chat to all my favorite creators about their past, present, and future eras. Excited to introduce my next guest. She's truly an innovator in the beauty community. She's worked with every brand under the sun, partied with Riri, Bretman Rock, featured in Vogue, recently found time to get married, launch her own brand, Embellished by Rowi, which you can cop soon in Sephora. And she creates these mind-bending looks. And I say looks because it's not just the makeup, it's the head to toe, the whole concept, the one, the only Rowi Singh. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. That was the best intro I could ever have asked for. Like,
I mean, if the shoe fits.
If I could just capture that and just put that at the beginning of anything that I do, I'll be sweet. I can retire.
I mean, I'll export a little vocal cut for you.
Perfect,
you can listen to it in your morning manifestations.
If someone asks for a bio, I'm just going to send a voice note of Zotti doing exactly that. I'm like, thank you.
And then you have to include that.
Yeah.
How are you? How's everything going?
Good. It's like good, crazy. And I want to say busy, but I'm trying not to use that word. Productive. Everything's going well. Whoa. It's a productive era for me.
Whoa, why not busy?
Because I feel like busy is like an excuse word that I use sometimes. And I think I'm not busy. I just have a lot to do. And I think busy is sometimes me being very poor at time management. So I try to move away from like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Because what does that even mean? Everybody's busy. Everybody has lives. Everyone's doing things. So I'm like, I'm trying to be productive and lean into that a little bit more.
Right. So rather than like use your reality as like an excuse, you're saying like you're choosing to spend your time in X ways. Wow.
Yeah.
Flip the narrative, bitch.
Yeah, and also
swear, by the
when you remove the word busy, it doesn't cloud your head as much. Like it removes a bit of the stress and anxiety from all the things that I have to do. And I'm like, I'm being productive. I'm getting my shit done. My to-do list is happening. If I'm like, I'm busy, it actually like clouds my brain. I'm like, she's busy. And then it's just like fuzz up here. So I remove that. I'm like, nah, she's doing it. I'm doing it.
I ask everyone this question when I first start on the episodes. What era would you say you're currently in? And what have you done to like prepare yourself for this moment?
I think I'm in my businesswoman era. Like I'm taking everything that I've learned as a content creator and working in media and producing, creating, editing, all of that I do for myself and turning that into a business, like a proper business. And I want to like expand my venture and do multiple things with my skill set. So I'm taking what I've done as a creative makeup artist and I'm turning that into product and I may turn that into service. So I'm working on that era and it's challenging, but it's exciting.
Do you feel like you've shifted your thinking from yourself as a product to yourself as like an empire, or like how have you prepared, mentally for that? Or what was the shift in your brain?
I love what I do and I love creating, but I'm like, I'm doing the same thing day in and day out. And when you don't have a job or you don't have like an employer and a salary where like someone is in charge of how much you learn and how much you grow and you have like a clear step-by-step as to like where you can go. When you don't have that, you have to create that for yourself. And sometimes you think, okay, like is this it? Like I'm kind of doing the same thing every day. I want to learn, I want to grow. How can I do that? I think it's just kind of like chucking yourself in the deep end and figuring it out and being like, okay, I want to start a business. I want to create a product because I feel like I have a vision for that. And then just diving in and doing it. So that's kind of like the mentality. I feel like it just kind of like evolved because I was a little bit bored or a little bit stagnant or a little bit too comfortable in what I was doing and creating because I had created such a strong foothold in like the makeup industry as like a creative artist or someone who does like looks on looks, and the only way for me to top myself there is to just do more of a crazy look, and like that's not enough. Like I can't.
Want to be challenged.
I want to be challenged outside of the world of beauty and into the world of like business and strategy.
And how do you think that's going to affect like what you create as well? Like do you find when you're like thinking in new ways, are you learning new things that you're applying to like old aspects of your life through becoming this business person that you were talking about?
I think on that point, it's like I'm being creative in a different way, which is kind of hard because I've learned to be creative in this way and on this path, and I'm really good at that. And it's really scary when you're like, okay, I have to shift to something a little bit more like a bit more strategic. I have to think more worldly. I have to think about not just me and what I would like to create, but what would I like to create for consumers and an audience. And it's not the same. That's the thing. I was like, I can do this because I can just copy paste like what I've learned, but there's so many other aspects to it, to building a business. For example, things like operations and finance, and being creative with your finances, being creative with how you expand your business,
how you build out your teams.
Exactly. Yeah. And that part is a bit of like blank space for me because I'm still learning there, and I'm learning that, it's not a copy and paste, and I have to develop those skills, but that's what's exciting about it because I can do that. I am capable. That's like the mantra.
You are capable.
It's like, if I did this, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can do anything.
I love that. You grew up in are we allowed to talk about your...
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think you grew up in what sounds like from our conversations, like a quite disciplined household, where there was a lot of encouragement towards finding stability and following a certain life path.
Yeah.
After all those years of having those strict guidelines put on you, people start to rebel. And this is like a common theme with people. Like, you have those strict parents, you step out into adulthood, you rebel, but then you have to find your way back to the discipline and structure. And I feel like you've done it so well.
My parents weren't strict. They didn't create those guidelines for me. I feel like I had to. Because I was mimicking and copying what everyone else in my like surroundings were doing. Like, oh, that's what I'm meant to do. Like I went to a, like an all girls private school where there were like 5 career options. It's like doctor, lawyer, accountant, something else important. And it's like, that was like the remit of how I can like grow. So I saw that and I was more mimicking my surroundings and being like, oh, this is what I must do, right? This is how you be successful. These are the parameters for success. So I must stay within that. And if I don't stay within that, I'm a failure. And if I do like an art degree, like that's going to end nowhere because that's what people keep telling me. That's what I was told. And even like my parents thought that too. That's the thing as well. We were both wrong. They wanted the best for me. So they thought that giving me like a regimented career and like having structure and stability will lead to my success. But I proved them wrong by showing that I can be successful and happy doing what I want. So breaking out of that mold was the hard part because I had this kind of like inkling deep inside that I never voiced to anyone. Holy shit, this is not the life that I want for myself. I can do more. I can do better. And I like grasped onto that until I could literally show people I'm doing it and like show people like, hey, like mom, dad, like look at this big beauty brand that I just signed, and then being like, whoa, what? That's actually really cool. Or like them seeing it in like traditional media, like seeing me in a commercial or seeing me in like a newspaper clipping. They're like, oh, it's real. So I had to kind of like prove to myself and to everyone around me that like I can be happy and I can be successful outside of your parameters.
Whoa. And where did like the initial like inspo, because like I'm finding everyone has like some random absurd, like whether they want to be a rapper or like be in movies and stuff. Where did like your, I don't know, connection with creating content and essentially through the form of your art, you're an entertainer. Where did that initial desire come from? Like, were you doing like drama in high school? Was it like,
I was a theater kid.
Yeah.
But again, like no one looked at me being like, oh, wow, she's going to be a star. Like no one was like, wow, like let's like give her all that. Like absolutely not. It was more like, hey, I'm a fucking star.
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me. So
you got to make people look.
You got to make people look. So it was definitely like theater kid energy combined with I need attention because I like not that I didn't get attention. Like I got a lot of attention like within my family, but more like I was too busy like trying to fit in with my surroundings that I just like, blended, and then I never got the attention that I deserved. I did deserve it. So I like, it almost felt like I have a lot to offer. So why not showcase what I have? And I didn't even know what I had, but I discovered that I was pretty good at makeup through like a lot of practice. And I was like, this is a fun creative outlet because I remember getting my first palette, had like 50 eyeshadows, and I was like, whoa, this is sick. Like I wanted to do fashion, but I was like, what the hell? I didn't have any money to do fashion. Like I was in uni, I didn't have like a wardrobe, but I was like, with makeup, I can create 50 looks from the one palette. So that was my like creative outlet because it was very accessible, and I can literally sit in my room with the door closed, painting my face, and then be like, oh, maybe I'll share this. And then Instagram was just getting off the ground. It was like 2013, 2014 era. It was very fresh. it was around, but it was very fresh in the world of content creating. Like nobody was posting selfies and selfies and selfies. Like no one was doing that.
Yeah.
They were posting their food and the dog and like out with friends. It was more
Flat lays.
Flat lays. And like no one was like using it as a portfolio for who they are or a portfolio or like almost like a resume for like your creativity. And I got a lot of shit for that because it was like, it's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of cringe at first because you're like, I remember people commenting, you don't even have any friends. All you do is post yourself. I'm like, bitch, of course I post myself. It's my page. And I was like, I don't care.
Where did that not caring come from though? Like,
I had this intrinsic, like, I knew that I was on the right path.
Yeah.
Because I had like maybe like one photo go like viral back then. I was like getting like 1,000 likes. And I was like, oh, like people are seeing this. So I'm doing something right. Like I'm on the right path. And I liked what I was creating because I wasn't putting my personality on the line. I was putting my like art on the line.
Right.
So it didn't feel
You
that
could
much.
detach.
It wasn't an attack on me. It was an attack on what I was creating.
Right.
And I can deal with that.
Yeah.
So that's why I always led with like my art and like posting online. And then if anyone said anything, I was like, I don't really care.
Whoa.
Because it's not, I mean, it is me, but it's not at the same
It's
time.
not. Yeah. I guess like if you were to analyze that, I know you did it like not unconsciously, that's not the word, subconsciously. Yeah.
Unconsciously.
Yeah.
Dead.
Did you what tools do you think you used to navigate like that period of your life? Like I think you've just kind of answered that with saying like you just did it and you just said I didn't give a fuck, but like what were you actively doing in your own head at the time? Like what were did you find yourself telling yourself that a lot? Were you having conversations with yourself or were you just going out and doing it?
Definitely having conversations with myself. I think I was really like, I think a lot of my makeup at the beginning was quite transformative for me. So it was like an opportunity to be like a different character almost. And so I was like, that's not me. I'm this person. I'm this character. So I felt like detached in a way. But I also like, I wasn't in my own like echo chamber of thought. I had like supportive, like my dad was like he's such a G. Like he's so supportive.
Shout out to Dad.
Shout out Bob. He from the get-go was like, you're really talented and you should keep doing this. Like you should keep posting. And he was like, oh, like he would always send me articles or like the power of like social media to build your own brand and like where Instagram is going and like the power of like influencing and how this can make you money. And I remember being like, what? But he was supporting me. And so was Rahul, like my husband, like he was there like, this is sick. You should keep doing this. And so were all my friends. So I'm like, the people's opinions that like mattered the most, I kept close to my heart. I was like, that's what matters. If the people around me that like I value are telling me that I'm doing a good job and I should keep going, I will. Because why would I like value someone's opinions that I don't even know? That doesn't mean anything to me.
But that's a really hard skill. That's not an easy skill.
It's not.
Develop.
It's not. And it's actually like I started off really confident, really strong. And even over the years, it's not like it gets easier. It gets harder.
I can imagine like the more growth, the more voices.
Yeah, the more scrutiny, and it's actually harder because like the louder those like voices are, and they almost come in like a pack form, and you're like, oh God, like
and
am
people
I
start
doing
latching onto the same thoughts and just
exactly. And you're like, if it's one or two people just like spewing shit, you can kind of like, it's a water off the duck's back, right? But if you have like, you know, more people or saying things, and then you start to question yourself. So I started off really strong, and then, you know, you waver and then you have to bring yourself back. Yeah. So it's not easy, but I try.
And who were you looking up to at that point? Because you were like one of the only South Asian girls doing what you were doing in our community. Shout out to if there was anyone else, but
but it doesn't matter.
But I just like, you know, like I think that's a big thing because like I think for now, for people coming out, they have all this blueprint. It's there. You can see yourself.
Right? Yeah.
You can actually say like, I want to be this because it's done before me. But I don't think people understand like pre that whole TikTok, Instagram boom era.
There was no reference point at all.
Yeah.
There was nothing to be like, I can do that. And blessing and a curse, because it was difficult because I had to like muster that from within. I didn't really have like a a person that I can look to and be like, I want to work towards that. But that's a good thing because then I didn't base.
There's no competition.
Well, not just that. I didn't base myself off of someone else's journey. I kind of created my own journey. So I don't think I really had that. I didn't really have someone that I can like, you know, lean on for support or like look up to. It was more just like Rihanna. No, it was like it's more just like celebrities where you're like, whoa, like I like really, really dumb. But like I used to watch like MTV, My Sweet 16. Okay, this is like a bizarre reference, but I would watch like My Sweet 16 and they're like spoiled rich girls like getting what they want. And I was like, kind of slay.
They're icons.
I was like, oh my God, like what? They're living the life. I don't want to live the life. Like,
because these were relatable people just sharing their thoughts.
Exactly.
And living lives that, you know, I don't know if I saw people like me in.
I didn't see there was no one that I could relate to like directly, but I can relate to moments. I can relate to particular experiences. Even like watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I'm like, they're living the life. Like I don't think they're role models, but I really liked how aspirational some of the content was that they were putting out. I was like, oh my God, they're like, she was the first influencer.
Yeah.
And like not a role model, but like take that experience and like make that my own. Like, oh my God, I can be of like that regard, like I could have influence, but in my own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch like Jersey Shore? Were you a Jersey Shore girl?
Yeah, I did. But that was just like, that was just trash from my brain.
I love that. I
like,
love that shit
me.
though. I was like, every time I watched that stuff as a kid, I was like, I would say this, I would say that. You know, like at the back, like, no bitch.
I know, it was like weirdly like made a mark on like who we were, but like in a good way.
I think it's so beautiful. I think people look at that stuff and they're so quick to judge because they're like, it's so vain or da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But it's like, why, like, when we grow up in a like world that tells us every aspect of who we are, whether we're a queer, femme, brown, white, black, you know, like person, tells us we're different. When we see moments like that people are just being celebrated for their like completely authentic self, there's so much freedom in the soul and you can just switch off. You're like, I don't have to be
it's comforting.
It's comforting.
It's really comforting.
Yeah.
Which is why
they're the originals. Shout out to Shout out to Snooki. Snooki. What was her name? Snooki. Anyway, enough about Jersey Shore and more about you. Beyond like your makeup, I think everything, and the reason why I'm like so gassing you up on this is because I think everything you do is like, not me having like, I can idolize my friends. I don't need to be shy about it. But you put so much like thought and design into everything you do. And even your home, like we've seen your Rowi's room, Instagram boom, you know, everything for you is like a visual stimulation. It's an experience. Where did that come from? Is there someone in your family or is it just like
no one is okay, no, that's mean. I was gonna say no one in my family is creative, but I think it's because like I guess like harking back to like my like childhood and growing up, I didn't have the space to do that. Like I didn't allow myself to like be creative because I didn't think I could be, and I didn't want to be quite weird. I didn't want to be like different because I moved around a lot as a kid. I like born in Australia, moved to Connecticut, lived there for 3 years, moved to Singapore, lived there for 3 years, came back to Australia. So I moved around a lot. So I didn't really have time to be like, oh, let me form my identity and figure out what I like. I was too busy trying to like fit in and blend in with everyone else. So I didn't have any issues. I was like, if I'm neither here or there and I'm just smack dab in the middle, that's going to be the easiest way for me to get through high school. And it really, really was. I was like, here I am, middle of the playing field. But it almost came like bursting out of me because in like small little ways, like as a kid, I used to collect keychains. I used to collect keychains, like really fun keychains and like colorful and like dorky, like just fun trinkets. I loved trinkets since I was a kid.
And here we are today.
I've loved trinkets. I love like little things that like make me happy that are like kind of meaningless but kind of not.
Yeah.
And I remember like even like MTV cribs like we were talking about, like I was like, I really want to decorate my room really, really cool. Like I would put posters up. I had like Justin Bieber and like
It was Zac
Miley
Efron for
Cyrus.
me.
Like, I was like, how can I make this a bit more me? And it was like coming out in it was like seeping out of me like in little tiny bits. And I was like, okay, I can see the vision. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness. Even when I moved out, I was like, what? I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can create a space and make it reflective of me. And there's like actually kind of no rules when it comes to how you express yourself, whether it's like your clothes, your makeup, your home decor. Like I can finally externally represent how I feel on the inside. I think I have it in my like Instagram bio, but it's like, this is the inside of my brain. This is how it works. I see everything like everything quite visual. I see everything very colorful. Every thought I have has like a visual behind it. Or like when I listen to music and I close my eyes, I see it all in color. Like I can see everything, I see it in color. I see repetitive colors. I see things like blue, like I see like repeated blue colors, and that'll like inspire a look. I think my brain is just like a big like mesh like melding pot of like kaleidoscopic color and all of that, and it's just like the external vomit of that. It's just my brain.
And investing in creating a space like that for yourself, how does that help your like, because I think like people like there's a certain guilt when we indulge in like these things. Like I'm also like quite similar, like I like to express myself through every element of it, but there's like a guilt that comes from like the often the perception is materialistic, but in reality it's created an environment for myself, and I don't know about you, but where I feel like I can explore it more and I can play with it. And
it's okay to like things. Like that's the thing. Like, we are in like a very like capitalistic. Is capitalistic a word? I don't know. That's the society that we're in. And like we can like despise it as well as like existing in it. And I like having things, and I like having things that like make me happy. And it's more about having things that contribute to your experience in your environment. I think that's why it makes it special. So like I have a colorful home because when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, hell yes. Like
it makes it easier.
Is amazing. I work from home. I'm not looking at some drab, boring beige bullshit. Like I'm looking at like exploding color, and that's going to inspire me. So like I'm inspired, like with my makeup, I'm inspired by like anything and everything. And it's like surroundings, like even like the color in your apartment, I'd be like, whoa, like I love that, like powder blue, like anything is inspiration. And so surrounding yourself with that,
it's important.
It really, really helps. Yeah.
You talked before about, stepping into this business era. And one of the questions I kind of wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to talk to you about your process with this. I think the common perception about, and sorry to use this word, influencers, is that press the button,
dark ominous music, influencers,
is that when it comes to creating a product and stuff, we've seen some people in a situation where it looks like they just
tacked their name onto something.
But I've seen, so our little Easter egg, I had a short stint at a beauty development company. I saw you take meetings, revisions, sampling the products. I've seen you walk down to the post office with your physical product in your hand and go and post it out. And I think people like think, or, do you find people have that perception about you that like,
and absolutely they should. It's a completely fair like opinion to have, because it's so often you see creators turned like business people tack their name on something, and then they have the money and they have a team of people doing it for them, and go off. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you're creating something that like makes sense for your branding and people like it, then like, wow, that's amazing. But it's just not how I like function. I'm like extremely hands-on, maybe to a fault. Like I'm very controlling. Like I need everything to be here, like at my fingertips. And so I do take on everything. And even with Embellish, like I'm overwhelmed. Like I'm not going to lie. Not only am I overwhelmed, but I also don't know what I'm doing half the time. Imposter syndrome. I'm like floundering, but also enjoying it at the same time. I'm doing everything, but I'm learning every little aspect of the business, whether I like it or not.
How do you manage that? Like what in
I
terms of
don't.
actual, time requirements, like physically, like,
Yeah.
do you now like start like setting time for your content, then external content? Then,
Yeah.
like, what does that actually look like for people that are, getting these opportunities or looking to build that business?
I resource, like outsource where you can, because you cannot do everything. Like it's like impossible. Find your skill set. I know that I'm a visionary and I'm a creative and I have ideas. That's what I'm really, really good at. And do not beat yourself up when you're not good at like another area of like business, because you cannot do everything. So I'm learning that I need to outsource and build a team. And that's like sort of in the, that's like the process where I'm at right now. Like I've got like, like a PR marketing manager, strategist. I'm like right now I realize I need operations and someone who can handle like supplier relations and all of that, because it's quite time consuming. So I think if you've got like your like hand in many pots, you focus, like for me, I just need to focus on what I'm good at creating, and that's my remit. I know that. And yeah, now I need to like expand. I think that's like the biggest thing, and ask for help. I think you look at some like, you can look at like amazing brands or like creators doing amazing things, and it's like a lot easier to get in your head about it and be like, wow, they're fucking killing it. Like, how do I get there? Like, how are they doing it? And how come it's not happening for me? But like, if you just talk to someone or like talk to them, you'll find like all that background shit that they've had to deal with that you don't know about, or like all like the work, the hours, grueling work that goes into like overnight success, because there is no such thing as overnight success. There's a lot of work that goes behind that. So like,
and even if it does happen, you've got to sustain it as well.
Exactly. And it's almost like harder. Like if you do have like a viral overnight moment, keeping that is
Momentum.
really, really, really tough. So like everything comes with its battles, and it's easier to see the glossy, like highlighted, like finished product of things, like products, people on social media, but like that's not always the reality. So when you talk to someone else, or you like someone else in the industry, you'll learn a little bit more about like the process, and it does make you feel a little bit better, because everyone started in the same spot, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if you find this, but as you progress in your journey and you push yourself into new areas, do you find yourself killing old ways of thinking, or are you just encouraging yourself more?
Bit of both. I think the one thing I need to kill off, and I'm trying to kill off, is toxic perfectionism and trying to get everything to a T perfect. It's impossible. You can't. And a lot of my looks, like they're so detailed and they take a lot of time because I need to get every single thing right. But sometimes you just got to put it out. It might not be perfect. Sometimes your work in progress might be the thing that will like lead you to the next part of the journey, right? So I'm letting go of like toxic perfectionism, because it infiltrates me. It stops me.
What does that look like?
If I create something and I'm not happy with it, I'm still going to put it out.
Sick.
Yeah, because I spent the time to create it. And also it's about the process and the journey just as much as it is about the outcome. Like it's about all of that. And that's puts the joy back into creating and working, because it's about the process and how you got there. So I will still put it out, or I'll try again. Like that's the thing. If something doesn't work, do it again. Do it again and learn from the last mistake that you made, and then the shit that you put out after that, it will be like 10 times better. Like I've done that with like makeup looks. I've like failed and I like beat myself up about it, and I like hate myself, and I'm like, I wasted like 4 hours of my day and I need to be productive. I need to be and then I'll just do it again, and I'm like, this is better than I could have ever imagined. And I'll like share the like I'll share like the bad version and the good version, and people find that interesting. Sure. Yeah. So just like kind of like putting things out, whether you think it's cringe or not, who cares? Just put it out. Is it good? Is it bad? Doesn't matter. Everything's subjective. Just put it out there. It doesn't really matter.
Literally.
It could be like a lot of the like most incredible, I don't even have an example, but like a lot of the most incredible like projects or like things that are out into this world started at shit. Like it was terrible, and it just got
polish the turd is the analogy.
Oh my god, polish the turd. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think we've talked a lot about your struggles.
Yes.
And a lot about anxieties, navigating and different things and obstacles. But what is like the best part of your life right now? Like what are you like super happy about? And like
I honestly like I had this moment on the weekend. I was like, I'm just so grateful for life in general. I fucking love my life. I love like everyone in it. I love like what I've created. I love that I can wake up and I can decide my day. I love that I can try new things and like dip my hand in different pots and be like, that didn't work out. That's fine. But I'm so glad I did it. I love knowing that because I'm doing what I am today, I know that whatever else I do in the future is possible. Because I already did it. That's the thing. Another thing that I learned is that anyone can have the idea. You could be like, I've just created like this, like I have this. Now do it.
Yeah.
Go and do it.
Literally
and,
just
like,
go and make.
Take that first step. And it's not scary. Like it is. I mean, it's frightening, but like break it down. Like if you have like a goal you want to work towards, it could just be like, send an email and that can point you in the right direction. Send one email, have a coffee with one person that might be able to like help give you like tips, like put something out on TikTok. It could be dumb. It could be like a really good piece of content. It doesn't matter. Take one step and then the next step will follow and the next and the next and the next.
And just keep trying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for me, like I'm here doing my own podcast right now. I have spent hours sending countless resumes. How many times have I pitched you projects and
Literally,
ideas? Like you just have to keep going for it. And I think that's like the biggest kind of takeaway is like it's the consistency and just keep trying. Don't be afraid to try.
Yeah, and like it's not always, you're not going to have like, not everything you're going to put out there is going to get out there. Like it's a snowball of ideas. You'll start with one thing like, oh, I want to do this. And then you'll be like, actually, no, maybe this. And then, no, this makes sense. And then.
But you don't know what you don't want to do until you try doing things,
Exactly.
You know? And you just got to start there.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the most valuable piece of advice you've ever received or like advice that resonates in your head quite often?
Let me think about that. That's a really good question. I always get stumped on questions like this. I'm like, like kind of what, like we were saying, like have that idea, but then do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Not Nike sponsored, but like something of that.
Bro, they should fucking sponsor this
It's
podcast because
so
that's
cliche.
everyone's ads.
Oh my God. It's,
Final question.
yes.
5-10 years time, what does your life look like?
Oh.
And use this as a manifestation exercise as well.
Okay.
So you can talk
Should I close my
absolutes.
eyes?
Yes.
I want to have like multiple businesses under my belt. I want to like, I'm going to have like a really successful international makeup brand, also something in the home decor space, and maybe merge the two and find like the gap between the two. I want to be working with Rahul. I want him, this is my manifestation for him.
Yes.
I want him to, when he feels comfortable, to leave his job and we join forces so he can be my like CFO type. And I can be the CEO creative type, and we join forces and we create something really cool, and we're just traveling the world, and then something, fuck them kids and fuck you.
Literally. Okay. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast
That was
today.
so fun. I feel like energized now. Like I'm gonna go out and just do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what we said talking about. Thanks, Zotti.
No, my pleasure. And if you like this podcast, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I want to keep doing these. And until next time, peace.
Bye.